Today we are talking about the cloud or the hybrid data warehouse running on Amazon Web Services. It's a part of Data Warehouse Modernization. We have many different options available at this time where you can harness the power of the cloud environment. And today, Amazon Web Services powered cloud or the hybrid data warehouse. Before we get into it, we would like to know the benefits of data warehouse modernization. The very first thing here is, as the data has grown significantly for the last few years, we must need to store and process the large volume of data. Using the cloud data warehouse, it's certainly feasible. And you can offload the data and improve the computational processing and to do a scalability in terms of the volume of records if it is really high, and if your traditional data warehouse unable to handle, the cloud data warehouse environment will help you to accommodate the new volume of records due to its extreme scalability option. And real-time data and historical data. So since many different applications running on the cloud are capable of handling data on a real-time basis, the cloud data warehouse environment would also able to do that with the real-time data analysis. So you can collect and analyze the large quantities of data from disparate sources, both inside and outside the organization, which will certainly gain the business insight from a broader set of enterprise. So you are absolutely ready for a comprehensive solution for ETL and ELT. So there are three different ways, or I would say path to the cloud data warehousing environment to perform your analytical operation. Option number one, which is extend your current traditional environment. What you see here on the picture, our traditional data warehouse architecture. And if there are any the cloud environment like sources or targets, what you're seeing here, you could connect to the environment like Salesforce or Facebook. It's just a one or two source system, like kind of a cloud-based source system or a cloud-based target. You could just use some connectors and connect to the environment. So that way you are extending the capabilities of traditional data warehouse environment, which is not really difficult to do. And at the same time, you are not taking a complete advantage or a complete power of the cloud environment or a cloud ecosystem. The second one is the migrate/modernization. What does that mean is, you are identifying the possible data storage environment like POS, e-com, marketing environment, or your persistent data store or non-persistent data store. If they are running on your traditional RDBMS environment, you could leverage Amazon Web Services data storage environment, which we'll be going to take advantage of. I'm seeing that in detail, and move them into the cloud ecosystem like an Amazon Redshift or DynamoDB or whatever the case may be. So that way your data store itself running on the cloud environment. So that is called migration process involved, because the data existing in your traditional or a local copy should be moved into the cloud platform using a specialized tool set provided by AWS, or if you have a license for Informatica or Oracle PL SQL, you could perform that as well. Natively, if you are using AWS, they have the ETL process called Glue, so you could take advantage of that to move the data from your traditional ecosystem back into the AWS powered database. The last option here is born in the cloud. It is for the new organization I mean, they don't need to build a traditional warehouse on all the services are sitting in their ecosystem. Rather, move all of them or build everything on the cloud ecosystem using AWS. So these are the three major paths for your cloud data warehousing environment. What are the top cloud computing providers? In current scenario, Microsoft Azure Cloud, Oracle Cloud, Google Cloud Platform, Amazon Web Services, and IBM. These five are the major players at this time where you could have the extreme scalability, and the scalable option is extremely dynamic in the sense like if you have, let's say, 4 or 5 servers on your data warehouse, but if you want to scale out to 50 or 500 database servers, you could just do it instantaneously. In fact, it is absolutely cost is based on the usage of your the servers. So it's completely possible, and these are the 5 players, and today we are going to talk about the AWS powered cloud ecosystem. Let's look at this picture. It becomes obvious that data integration is becoming more necessary than less so. So every enterprise is going to have some applications of data, and they don't want to move everything on the cloud. And here is the answer. This is the hybrid, a true hybrid cloud data warehouse environment. Your traditional environment which are running on your successful POS or a successful your traditional environment, which they don't want to move it on the cloud because of the time consuming process or the volume of records, or could be many business reasons. They don't want to move the data from their traditional warehouse into cloud, but they have lots of business operations running on Salesforce, Workday, NetSuite. So what they do, majority of the customer, rather than moving everything on the cloud, they build something called hybrid cloud environment. They keep some of the components or majority of the components on-prem and move some of them into the cloud ecosystem, which is a combination of both on-prem and also the cloud. We call it as the hybrid ecosystem. So on the right hand side, what you're seeing here is the data store. They are taking advantage of Amazon Redshift, which we'll be going to talk about that in detail, similar to Oracle database environment for an extreme data warehouse platform, which is running on AWS. So data powers AWS success. So what you must need to do if you want to move your data warehouse, your traditional data warehouse, into the AWS environment, you must need to migrate your on-prem data, all the workloads, into AWS. So the migration is the number one key. Make sure that the data structures residing on your traditional warehouse should meet or should be exact copy there in your AWS Redshift environment, which is the database running on the cloud ecosystem. Then jumpstart and scale your data warehouse using Amazon Redshift, and that way you could scale it out. If you want to scale to one or many different servers of Amazon Redshift, you could just do it. So migration is feasible. The native migration tool available from AWS, or if you have a licensed copy of Informatica, you could do it. And then move the data back into Redshift using this migration tool. And depending upon the volume and also the usage of workloads, you could scale it out. So there are a bunch of capabilities and tools are available under Amazon Web Services. So what you see here, it is a snapshot of their services, like computing, categorized by different operations. Like under compute you have EC2, all these things. Storage wise, which is very key here, like what different types of storage and content delivery. Each one has a separate use case available, so depending upon that you could leverage any of these. And database perspective, RDS, DynamoDB, Elastic Cache, Redshift, and DMS. There are many different capabilities. So it is absolutely like an ocean. You have plenty of options available to harness the power of your cloud data ecosystem. Today we will be going to talk about few options, like especially on the database perspective, because data warehouse is primarily on the data store, used for data analysis and reporting. Because if you have a traditional data warehouse, let's say the RDBMS like an Oracle or a Microsoft SQL Server or MySQL, all these data can be moved into Amazon Redshift, which provides a high performance cloud data warehousing through a very fast, fully managed petabyte scale data warehouse service. Make it very simple and cost effective to analyze your business data in a very high performance environment, which is very native. A high volume of data connector is available to quickly enable you to design a petabyte scale data warehouse environment. So it is extremely feasible in terms of whether you could do it on a single node configuration or a multi-node configuration. If you look at the multi-node, it is like a leader node manage all the client connections and receives queries. And then next one is the compute node. I don't want to get into the details, but just want to showcase if you want to move your traditional environment, the Redshift would be your one of the option to move your local copy into Amazon Web Services. Redshift, in a nutshell, it is 10 times faster than your traditional RDBMS environment because of it is a columnar data storage, and then uses an advanced compression, so it has a very a fraction of an I/O used for when compared to the traditional environment, and massively parallel processing. So you could distribute the data and query load across all the nodes, which we talked earlier, like the master node and the multi-node environment, like a leader node and the compute node. So that's basically what we are talking about, massively parallel processing. So you could automatically distribute the data and load across all the nodes. Pricing wise, it is extremely I wouldn't say cheap, but it is used based on the subscription model, and you pay based on what you use. And you have a lot of different options from the price point perspective, rather than having a perpetual license. This usage, like subscription model based on the usage, would certainly can reduce your operational cost. Security wise, is encrypted in transit using SSL, encrypted at rest using AES 256 encryption. It is extremely, because the data is there in the cloud ecosystem. Amazon Web Services, invest a lot of time and effort on maintaining and preserving your data through an extremely complex algorithm of security. So from that standpoint, Amazon Redshift is certainly a viable option for replacing your traditional data warehouse using Oracle, Microsoft SQL or MySQL, moving the data back into the Amazon Redshift, which is running in the Amazon Web Services. I will be going to pause this video, and there are several different data store options available, like an S3 and other thing. We'll be talking about that in detail in the upcoming videos. Thanks for watching. If you like the video, please share it with your friends, like the video, and comment. If you have any questions, please feel free to post your comments here. Thank you so much.